Well, hello guys, it's Ronnie Doss. Welcome back to another session of Like a Doss. I've got my friend Joel Bennett here, who's the main man, as always. Really excited to be back doing another session and excited to share some stuff with you. So, Joel, what's up?
Man, it's good to be back, Ronnie. It's been a while, and I know that many exciting things have been happening in our lives. Tell me what's been up with you. Where have you been going? What have you been doing? And then what's on the horizon?
We'll be heading out in a few weeks. We've got Toronto and New York and Phoenix and Atlanta, just a lot of things coming and a lot of great things happening all the way around. So really grateful. I know you've been everywhere, but it's been a while doing one of these, but I'm excited to get back on track, bud.
Well, I'm happy to be here. Let's do it. Let's jump right in. I've got a topic today that's been more important to me lately than ever, and I want to talk about accountability. There are a lot of ways to look at accountability, and I know that as I speak to you about this, that you'll have several different rabbit trails that we can go down on that. But the reason I want to talk about it is that I've started a new journey on some weight loss, and it was a thing that something I've wanted to do for a while. But if I hold myself accountable, I don't get anywhere. Because I can easily talk myself out of stuff every day. But when I decided to tap into this program that has a personal trainer, a friend of mine known for 15 years, she has a great program, but it took the accountability of someone who I had to report to every day and make a food log, tell what I've been doing, things like that made it accountable, that's made it more real to me, and now I feel like I'm on a journey that I want to be on. Tell me about overall, just give me kind of a starter here on accountability, how it's important to our lives to become the people and the leaders that we need to be.
Well, first of all, I think what you said is really powerful. You have somebody else that's helping to hold you accountable. Having people in our lives that can support us along the journey is very, very important. But I think the first step, Joel, in doing that is you have to first realize or recognize what it is that you want to achieve. There's this quote that I have shared many times recently. I read it, and I don't even know who it's by, but I just thought it was brilliant. It said, "Life punishes the vague, but rewards the specific." Life punishes the vague, but rewards the specific. And I think what that means is overall, if we're not really clear on what the goal is, what the thing it is that we know we need to be accountable for or accountable to, then I think over time we wind up being punished. I think there's benefits to not being clear, because then you don't have to worry about failing or falling short, right? So I get to play the game of safe all the time, but I think those benefits are minimal compared to the overall cost of not being accountable. And so you get the comfort on the day-to-day of pretending like it's not a goal for you, but I think what happens is it winds up costing us in the long run. What we wind up having to deal with is regret. We start dealing with I think a lack of self-esteem and self-image. I think, people ask me often about self-confidence. How do I build self-confidence? And Joel, the way you build self-confidence is through consistency. When you see yourself doing the thing that would be very easy for you not to do, you start to believe something about yourself. You start to have an internal dialogue, that internal critic that starts to speak to you in a way that either builds you and lifts you and gives you the courage to move forward, or that internal critic starts to tell you, well, you've never done it, you've never followed through, you don't have what it takes, you're not going to be consistent, and that voice just gets louder and louder and louder. So accountability gives you the standard or the bar to hold yourself against, so to speak, on a daily basis. I think success in any endeavor is found in the routine. Everybody wants something quick, they want it fast. Nothing wrong with that. It's cool to have technology, Amazon Prime, you click a button, you get it, it's dropped in your yard, your front door, whatever. But I think when it comes to creating success that's lasting, I think it's going to take time, and you're going to have to develop a routine. I said this recently, I wrote it down, I said it, I came up with it, and I wrote it down, and I said that if the journey is short, the payoff is small. If the journey, if the road, if the path, if it's a quick, short path, chances are it's not going to have the payoff to it that we would say causes us to feel better about who we are. So accountability is the thing that we'd say, this is what I'm going to do today. I'm clear on it. I hold myself to that. And that gives me the bar to reach towards. Now, big misnomer, one of the things I want to clear up here, and I'm talking a lot, but the thing you got to get is you don't have to achieve the goal to be anything awesome or amazing or a winner or any of that. you can say to yourself, hey, I'm already great. I know I'm loved. I know I'm enough. I don't have to perform to get all that. That's fine. You own that. Well, from that place of neutral, then you start to create and build what you want, not out of an obligation, but simply an opportunity. And each day is this opportunity to simply take it on, to simply say that today could be the day. It's either one day I'll get around to it, or today's day one. I'll just start today. And you can start today with anything. Exercise routine. Get on the floor and do a push-up. Just one. You don't have to do 10. Build some momentum. Do one. Tomorrow, do 2, right? Same thing with saving some money. Oh, save money. I'm not good with money. Put 1% of your earning away. Next month, shoot for 2. Build off of it. But you can start today with something. And when you do that every day, or as best you can, and holding yourself accountable to that, you view yourself, see yourself, and that internal critic says, hey, you can do this. You've got what it takes. And then you build up that momentum. That's what accountability does for us. Without it, you wind up just circling the wagons. You wind up justifying and rationalizing why you can't do it, why you don't have enough of what it takes, how your past is really who you are. And in fact, when it comes to creating a future, the honest truth in all of it is the future's got nothing to do with what we've already done. You can choose today to change the trajectory or direction of your life simply by making a choice and then holding yourself accountable to some form of action. Many people won't do it. It's safe, to not do it. It's comfortable. But I think over time, that doesn't lead us to the place we want to go. And I think it winds up compounding a little bit of regret and some lack of self-esteem.
I think what you said even at the very beginning was so poignant, that when we're vague, you're exactly right. It's comfortable. But if we set a goal, we say, I want to get somewhere, then you actually have to set a goal and you have to be accountable to get to that. It doesn't happen. Stuff just doesn't fall in your lap.
And I think in our culture now, everybody wants everybody to see what they're doing. I do more behind the scenes than what I'm putting on social media. I put pictures out there and like, hey, I'm going to speak here and do this. But there's a lot of places I go to speak now that I don't put on social media. Number one is I want to just own it and stay in my world for a bit and not try to put everything that I do out there, just because I don't need everybody to see everything that I'm doing, because I'm okay with me. And so it's in that process of the day-to-day where you get stronger to be able to build something that's, I think, notable for people to see and to remember. It's not just some label and just throw it out here and pretend like I'm the expert. There's so many people out there that I know that want to be an expert. They want to talk to you about public speaking. They want to talk to you about, sales. They want to talk to you all these things. They've never sold anything. They've never spoken anywhere really extravagant or awesome. They just run their mouth and they act like they do. And then they don't really have the capacity. They don't have the experience. They don't have what's called the yada. And the yada is not just a knowledge of something. It's an experience. It's a knowledge that we gain from an experience. And when you've had the experience of putting in the time and developing the capacity, or as you called it, Joel, the roots, then you have something that can weather the storm, weather the tough times, weather the challenges that are going to come in the future. And it's the old saying, if the path you're on doesn't have any challenges, then that path is no good. It's not going to lead anywhere good. If all we want is the comfort and the immediate fix, the frying pan, the flash in the pan, it's not going to be worth anything. Anything that happens fast typically is not worth that much. And so for me in my life, I just decided years ago, yes, I want to make a difference. I know that I'm going to have some exposure. I know that there's going to have to be some marketing and some branding and all those things in who I am. But really to have a product that's worthy of the marketplace now, you've got to put in the time. And I think in any area, when it comes to marriage, you want a marriage that's worthwhile, you got to put in the time. The honeymoon phase is going to end. And when it comes to a diet, you don't just decide one day to work out one day. You don't go to the gym just for a week and that's it. You don't take a bunch of supplements on the last day of the month and say, hey, I took my whole bottle of supplements. It's about mastering the day-to-day, that routine and that process. If you do that in any area of your life, if you learn to get better little by little, small step by small step, that's where the winners are made over time.
A lot to chew on right there. I do want to go back to something real quick, that a little rabbit trail here. You talked about not putting a whole lot out there on your social media, what you're doing and stuff. Do we often, I know we do, I mean, I know the answer to this, but the stuff that you see on your Facebooks and whatever, everybody's accounts, that's not who people really are. They put up their best, whatever. A lot of people don't put up their daily struggles, or man, I I didn't want to go today, but I went. That kind of stuff. Talk to me about how to be real on that, and not to then compare ourselves to everyone else's super duper life that we think they're leading, and not be satisfied with where we're at.
Joel, I think that discomfort can be a great precipitator for change. I think when you see something, it can motivate you. But I think one of the things we got to be very careful in social media and looking at things is that it's okay to have a model for success, to look at someone else and be inspired. But what we don't want to do is don't want to turn those models into idols, and where that they are the way. I have to be that way to be a success. I've got to be that person to be enough. And I think what a lot of people do is they wind up trying to project something that they're not to impress people that really don't care. Ultimately, I think people know, they see so much in our world now. We're getting so many images thrown at us all the time. Everybody's the expert. Everybody's got something to say. There's so much information out there that I think some people just put things out just to try and keep up. But I think the secret to the longevity path and the secret to long-term success is to do what you know you need to do in real life. Be honest with you. Be honest with the standard you want to hold for you. Know thyself. Know what your strengths are. Know what your weaknesses are, and know that you don't have to be strong in every area. Pretend to be strong in every area to create success. One of the quotes that I've read recently was, "You don't create success by not having weaknesses. You create success by building your strengths around them." And if you're just trying to put everything out there that you're strong in everything, you look good in everything, and it's all good, you're probably not developing what we would say is the capacity and the legs to be able to hold up the success that you're pretending to have. We're not blessed by what we get, we're blessed by what we can keep. And you got to have the legs to be able to keep success. If you try to set things on a table that is supposed to have 4 legs and it's only got 3, it's going to fall over. And so a lot of times people projecting to have a success and to be able to do something that they can't. And it's not bad to be able to say, hey, I want to take this on and I want to be this. But when it's not true and you know you're not doing the work on the day-to-day, I think ultimately that catches up to you. And you have a lot of people that are pretending to be authorities in some area, and they're really not. You can still in life be scared to death of something, but also stand in your authority. Meaning you can stand in authority and still be like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can really do this or pull this off. But if you've done the work, like if you've done the day-to-day routine, then you can stand in that and have confidence in knowing that you've done the work to prepare. You can stand in authority, even in a situation that scares you. I've been in situations in front of people that have been a bit scary, that I've said, hey, man, these people are maybe more qualified, they know more than me, they're smarter than me, more educated, and still stand in the authority because I know I had done the work to be able to deliver something, a product at the time that they would see as valuable. And when we just throw things on social media or comparing ourselves and just try to keep up and put stuff out there, I think that can lead to, our own feelings of knowing that we're not being authentic. And I think there's a lot of, with social media, I think a lot of people know they're putting stuff out there that's not really real. And if you get tested on it and the opportunity comes and you got nothing to say and you hadn't done the work, then that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. You be you is kind of the thing, and not be worried about what somebody else appears to be.
Right.
Because that might not be true.
Yeah, let me say this. I read a quote, Joseph Campbell. He said, the greatest privilege in life is to become who you are.
Yeah.
And so you give yourself permission to really be who it is that you are, knowing that you're enough, with or without social media. I have somebody that helps me with my social media, and one of the things that she put out was that the likes or social media likes are an illusion, but the numbers in your bank account are not. Right, and the reps that you can do when it comes to some physical fitness exercise, that's real, and that's looking in the mirror and taking ownership of what really is true in your life, not trying to fake something. They say fake it till you make it, all that stuff. I get it, you do have to put yourself out there a bit, but when it comes to measuring yourself based on what everybody else's social media is like, it's a huge distraction, and it's an absolute, it's a flawed scorecard. If your life if you're weighing your life against the scorecard of social media and what everybody else has got and what everybody else is doing, it's a flawed scorecard. You have to decide for you what your scorecard looks like and hold yourself accountable to some standard daily. And over time, if you do that in any area, you're going to get better.
That was a bonus little mini lesson we're not going to charge for on that in the middle of this whole talk. That was really good, but I think it's so important because I see it every day. So I want to go back to talking about the daily routines. When we start something on a daily routine, and I'll use myself as an example, a couple of weeks ago started walking every morning. I'm not a morning person. I usually work late at night with what I do, and so getting up early is a challenge. And when I started walking, first 2 days, blisters. Now I'm 2 weeks into it, blisters have now subsided, turned into calluses. And now I can walk better, walk easier because I've got a little bit of a foundation there. How does that apply to our daily lives with what we're trying to do?
You need calluses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, get married. Your spouse will give you calluses, right?
Preach
Your
it.
ego and your whatever calluses. In the example, walking, build up calluses, right? The foundation, you're building it up by doing the work. You're not a morning person. I heard somebody say that the way you attack your morning is how you attack your life, right? The way you attack your morning is the way you attack your life. You have to be willing to get up and attack it. If not, it's going to take control of you and it's going to beat you down, beat you to your knees, right? We've heard those terms before. Rock climbers, guys that handle these intense obstacles of the cliff hanging kind of guys that do the climbing. Like they build up calluses on their hands and their fingers and they won't do anything. They won't sit in a hot tub, bathtub. They won't allow anything to wear away at these calluses that they've developed because they know that those calluses help them to pull, push, and do what they do to get to the next level as they are climbing. Life, in a sense, is like the climb, right? When you hear people talking about rock climbing, going on these journeys up of these huge mountains, right? You know, Mount Everest when they climb it. You don't ever hear them come down and go, oh my gosh, it was a piece of cake the whole way. And you know what? We did it. Here's what most people don't say. We did it once, so now we're just going to take it easy the rest of our life. What most of these people do is they talk about how arduous the journey was, how difficult it was, the things that they came up against, the pain that they felt, the difficulty, the challenge. But you know what? As soon as they got to the top, they go back down and then they decide they're going to do it again soon. They're going to take it on again. Why? Because there's some incredible thing that happens to us in our beingness when we push through a level that we thought was really a limitation or a cap. When you just say, I'm going to attack this and take it on and get after it, something really cool happens, right? It's like you start to see yourself manifesting in a way that you hadn't before. And you develop a greater, stronger self-image. You develop a stronger view on life as far as what's possible. And that's a really incredible thing to have happen. When you start saying, you know what, anything is possible. You know, in the faith, we talk about that anything's possible with God. Well, people quote that, people talk about that, and it's a wonderful thing to quote. And people go, oh yeah, I know that, blah, blah, blah. But do you live it? I mean, do you get after it and say, you know what, anything is possible. I'm going to set this goal. It's outside of what I would say is comfortable. It's a bit risky, but I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to be reckless, but I'm going to take some risks. And I read a quote by a guy who's a consultant to some Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, right? And he said that what he's learned about leaders is that many of them don't have a lot in common. The one thing that they seem to have in common, though, is their willingness to take risk. He said what some leaders would say, don't do this or swear against, other ones are saying, oh yeah, you got to do that as a leader. So everybody's different. But he said the common thread between real leaders was a willingness to take risks. That's what he's seen. And I can say that for any of us, if we're serious about succeeding in something long term, this accountability piece and being willing to develop some calluses and put in the work, that's the secret. That's the key. That's the principle that we have to adopt and take on. And that's how I think we get, to the next level.
I think in this accountability that we're talking about too, talking about being accountable to other people, to tap into other people who are mentors, who are experts in the field or whatever, I think they can help us. I've heard this before, though. We don't know what we don't know. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we're struggling, going in our little circle, when there's something, an answer that somebody has that can help us get to the next level. Let me use this example. We have in our house these wood floors that we needed to take out in the kitchen. This was several years ago. And they glued this floor down with some kind of superhuman glue. And it took my three boys, my wife, and I more than a week to strip this wood. We did this again last week in our dining room. Same glue, same wood, everything's down. But I heard about a machine that I could rent at Home Depot that got under the wood and did the work for me. So what took us 2 weeks before we did in 24 hours because I picked up some knowledge. So if you pick up some knowledge and you look to somebody who's smarter than you, has some expert in that area, that can take you to another level and in a reduced time.
Yes. If you are the smartest person in your circle is not doing very much. Chances are you're just not. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? Somebody told me recently, they heard me say that a few years ago, and they're like, that changed a lot for me. But the case is, if you want to go to another level and create something that you haven't yet created, you're going to need some information that you probably don't have. You may have the information to know how to do certain things and do that well, but if you want to really break through and get to another level, you need a mentor, you need somebody to support you, you need somebody that's got some information you don't have. People say, well, it's too expensive to get all the stuff, to buy the stuff, buy the CDs and all that stuff. Go to the library. You get a library card for free. Go in there and read a book from somebody, right, that's got some information that you don't have. Everybody knows something. And I think that we become a little bit narcissistic to think that we know it all. It's one of the problems that I have with many people in religion. They think that they know. They think they know what God's going to do. Well, God's infinite, and we know that. Well, it's like, well, infinite to you, it has its own definition. Like you have a perspective on what infinite means. And so even your perspective on infinite is limited in the case that, when infinite means really no limit, that it's never ending, you can't wrap your head around that. And a lot of times I think people think they already know and they already have the answer. Aristotle said, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know anything. And I think in our life, if we'll approach it saying, hey, I want to see what can happen today. I want to see what I can do. I want to see what I can create and step out of what I think I already know. Use the wisdom that you've learned, but be willing to be open to something new. I wrote this phrase down the other day. I wrote down open mind, shut mouth. I was like, that's a powerful principle. Keep your mind open, keep your mouth shut. What does that mean? Well, sit around and let some other people do the talking. If you always are doing the talking when you go into a conversation, you leave the conversation the same way you went in, right? But if you're open to saying, hey, what can I learn? Then you grow. You've invested in yourself over that few minutes of the conversation versus always trying to pretend like you know everything. And I think that in my life, one of the things that I have discovered that has really helped me, Joel, is to get into a routine, to push myself in areas where before I may have resisted, where I'd say, well, I'll get around to that later, right? I'm going to take it on daily, developed a good routine, and then from that, been willing to take some risks and put myself out there in areas where maybe before it would have been easier to kind of cower down and believe that I wasn't enough or I couldn't do it, right? I had to step into a bit of a place of boldness and courage, and then the phone started ringing for organizations to have me come and talk that were on a whole nother level of what I thought would ever invite me when I first started. I was just trying to get somebody to invite me. And it's because I think I stuck with the routine and I did the work, and I think I get invited back because people can see that I've put in the work, right? You go to another level. It's nothing worse than getting an opportunity you're not prepared for, right? And if you're getting invited back to somewhere to speak, to work with them, consult with them, they want to use you again as a client, whatever, it means you've done something well. I don't think it's enough to get invited to one place once, because you can get lucky and somebody just call you and invite you once, even twice. Maybe they invite you back so you can redeem yourself because you screwed it up the first time. But when you have a consistent approach and people say, hey, come back, we want you a part of our business, our organization, our team, that means you're doing the work. And if you really want to be long-term successful, if you want to be successful tomorrow, you got to be willing to do the work today. So yeah, that's my approach to this accountability and day-to-day stuff and calluses and all the things that we mentioned.
One more thing that I want to talk about with accountability is when you have an accountability partner in, say it's a workout or a mentor that you're really trying to gain knowledge from to grow in your own life, or a leadership expert like yourself who we try to glean knowledge from to make ourselves a better person. We need to honor that and not take it lightly, and honor their time, their investment, and because they're taking us to a level probably faster than they got to that level. And I think honor is very important. How do we do that? How do we honor those people that we need their accountability?
Well, I think number one, you got to recognize the people that have gone before you have led the way. I think one of the things you get up and you're grateful. You're grateful for what? You're grateful for the people that have fought and died for the country, for us to have the freedom to get up and do what we want to do. I really find it interesting when people talk about, the presidents and the politicians and how bad our country is and how everybody's stupid and all that stuff. Well, yes, we do have stupid leaders that do stupid things at times. Yes, but you know what? A lot of people have put in the blood, sweat, and tears to be able to create a space for us to step in and choose to do what it is that we want to do. There's always been someone that has gone before us, right? And I think remembering that helps us to come from a place of, one, gratitude. And when you stand in a place of gratitude for the people that you have around you that are helping you to get to another level, that comes off as honor. And when you learn to honor other people, I believe it enhances and expands the capacity that you have to be honorable and to have other people honor you, right? It's like everybody wants the respect, but nobody wants to give it. I think respect is one of these things that if you want it, you've got to learn to give it on some level, right? It's like honor, trust. These are things that you've got to learn to give if you want to receive them. And so honor and seeing someone else as someone that you can glean from and learn from, that's a powerful tool that many people don't use. And it's the phrase, I have said it before, it's worth saying again. Be interested versus interesting. When you get around people, learn to ask good questions. Learn to ask them, what makes them tick? What excites them? What makes you sad? What things don't you enjoy seeing? What things do you love to do? What inspires you? Get around people and you start seeing that people are walking books full of wisdom, full of experience that you don't have. And when you recognize that other people have experiences and knowledge that you don't have, then you can honor them and see them in a way they feel it. When you show honor to someone, people feel it and they'll give you the best version of them. You're a business owner, you're a team leader, you want people on your team to step up and play a bigger game, you play a bigger game. You push yourself and then push yourself to be honorable and to show honor. When people feel that from you, boy, they'll give you the best version of themselves. That's where teams get better. They feel valuable. Everybody is valued in the role that they're in. And when you can value a mentor, somebody who's a trusted, learned friend, so to speak, I think better things tend to happen for you, and I think you're better equipped to step into the next level that you say you want so bad, or that I would say I want so bad. Honor is a big part of that, man. It makes everything better, and you don't only just honor other people, you got to learn to honor you too. I think that's a powerful thing when you honor yourself as a vessel, like what you're talking about, Joel, getting up, pushing yourself, exercising, eating right. You feel better. You're in a better space, and I'm telling you, I believe that it's easier to love the world, give to the world, when you've learned to take care of yourself as a vessel, honor you as a vessel. I don't think you can give what you don't got, so to speak. It's hard to export what's not homegrown, and so we want to take care of ourselves too. Honor works both ways. So that was my answer, bud.
Man, that's a great time we've had. People can get more information, more stuff like this by going to
RonnieDoss.com. We got video membership subscriptions there, product stuff, all this new platform. If you want to check out RonnieDoss.com and some of the things we do, our Monday Motivations, Real Talks, Power Presenter, all these memberships we have now, they're enhanced on a new platform. They look better. It's very professionally done. We've worked to make those better and better. That's all there, RonnieDoss.com. We'd love to give you more resources, help you to do what you do on a day-to-day basis to be better. So, yeah,
awesome.
That's it.
Thanks,
Awesome,
boss.
bud. Thanks so much, Joel. Guys, thank you so much. We'll be creating another one of these, have another podcast out to you soon. Thank you so much for listening to this. If you've enjoyed it, got something out of this, which we believe that you did, hope that you did, share it with somebody else. We enjoy getting this information to you. It makes a difference for us. And if there's anything that we can do for you, you can email us, info, I-N-F-O, at DossTeam.com, I-N-F-O at DossTeam.com. And we look forward to talking to you again very, very soon. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.